If you think the coming federal election is all about a showdown between Prime Minister Scott Morrison and opposition leader Bill Shorten, well, you're wrong. If you think it's even between Labor and Liberal, well, you're wrong again. Because in quite a few seats, and remember our elections are determined seat by seat, the battle isn't Libs v Labor. It's now more and more shaping up to be a contest between the Liberal Party and an independent masquerading as Liberal light. But really, when you strip away their mask, they're not much more than a Labor stooge in disguise. Let's have a look at some recent form. Now, when she contested Wentworth a couple of months ago, Kerryn Phelps let everyone think she was just a little like Malcolm, a left-wing sort of Liberal, although I'd argue that's no Liberal in the first place. After initially saying that she'd preference the Liberals last, cleverly, on advice from a former Gillard government staffer and Labor operative, Phelps changed her mind and said she would put the Liberal Party second. Now, that was a smart ploy because it gave unhappy Liberals permission to vote for her as a protest against a government that turfed out their local MP. Yet, in voting for the Independent, discontented former Liberal voters didn't just make a Liberal government's hold on power more precarious. Their vote ended up putting Bill Shorten in charge of border security policy. And thanks to three other Independents in what had previously been Liberal seats, Rebecca Sharkey, Julia Banks and Cathy McGowan, well, Labor was able to water down the government's tough border protection regime even from opposition. And that's what Independents do. They make it easier for Labor. We saw it with so-called Independent Tony Windsor in the days of Gillard, and who could forget his partner in crime, Rob Oakeshott. Both men were former coalition MPs pretending to be independents, when really they were little more than a rusted-on number for Labor. It's worked so well in the past that naturally the Labor Party is now enthusiastically backing independents in key seats that Labor could never win in its own right, like Tony Abbott's seat of Warringah and Greg Hunt's Victorian seat of Flinders. Yesterday, the Australian newspaper highlighted the very strong Labor and union links to the Zali-Steggall campaign team fighting against Abbott in New South Wales. And last night on Credlin, a man who knows Labor inside out had this to say.
To be going around saying I'm an independent and in the back room it's all Labor Party type people is trying to trick the people of Warringah, and they shouldn't fall for that. And I think if Zali-Steggall in this case was honest about it, she'd say, look, here are my policies on refugees, climate change, I'm a signed-up member of left-wing politics and I've got Labor Party people here running the campaign, and independent is the wrong banner to be using if you believe in honesty in politics.
Now, if you live in any of these seats and you want to vote for Labor, do so by marking the box with the name of the ALP candidate. But if you're a Liberal and you can't vote Labor because that means you'll elect Bill Shorten, please don't kid yourself that voting for one of these independents will save you from that either. Phelps, Sharkey, Banks, McGowan's replacement and Steggall, they're all Labor mutton dressed up as Liberal lamb, and don't be fooled.